crazy. I feel like I am not centered on the screen for you guys. Hopefully that's a bit better. Before we get into today's true crime case, just a couple of small things. I do have a new video up on my second channel, so the link for that will be listed down below. Also, I should have a Patreon video coming so soon for you guys. I have the case all typed up, and now I just need to film it. My apologies for letting you all down on that side of things. Just with me not feeling well, and then this week I've been feeling under the weather a little bit again. It's kind of weird, so I should hopefully be filming that within a week's time. decided to leave the bar. I'm not sure if they were kicked out or if they thought, well, we don't want to have any part in this, and left willingly. There's no evidence that points either way online, so I'm not sure how that worked out. But after walking outside of the bar with his friends, Lars somehow disappeared off on his own. Now, since I wasn't there, I'm not sure if this was typical of Lars or if maybe the place they were located was very crowded and he just happened to get lost in the crowd. I'm not sure. So, this may have been normal for Lars. It may not have been. Lars, for some reason, stayed out all night for the rest of that evening. The next morning, on July the 7th, this was the day that Lars and his friends were scheduled to return to Germany. Lars showed back up at the hotel he was renting with his friends. Lars appeared to be injured, and he told his friends that 4 men had ended up beating him up at some point the night before. Lars claimed that these 4 men were hired by the German tourists who had got into an argument with him while at the bar about their football teams. During the fight, Lars apparently suffered a ruptured eardrum, and he also had an injury to his jaw from the 4 men that had attacked him. Lars was not looking the best, so his friends decided it would be good for him to see a doctor that day before they left. Lars went to a doctor, and the doctor prescribed a strong antibiotic called Cefprozil for Lars's eardrum injury. This doctor also told Lars that he should not fly back to Germany that day and instead stay in Varna for at least another 24 hours, if not longer, because riding in an airplane with an eardrum injury could cause way more damage. Lars was okay with staying in Varna for longer, and his friends even offered to stay with him, but Lars insisted that they return to Germany that same day, since that was the original plan. You know, Lars is a 28-year-old man. He should be perfectly fine staying on his own one night in another city. I'm not sure if Lars's hotel stay, if he is, no one has ever seen or heard from Lars since. Now you can actually view the footage of Lars running through the airport and climbing the fence into the woods online. It is available on YouTube. But yeah, it is just so odd of a case. There have been a couple of